I thought I would do a video of the Toyota Tundra and what you can consider and do for modifications. I probably have maybe 40-ish mods that I will show you on the exterior, under the hood, on the interior. But this is the 2019 TRD Sport version or model. So what I'm going to do is give a good walk around on the outside so you can see that if you do any of these mods, what your truck will look like. A really good side profile here. I tried to find a parking lot as level as possible. That's not perfectly level, but this has a full 3-inch front suspension lift and a 1.5-inch rear shackle lift. I'll talk a little bit more about the kit in a little while, but it gives it a fairly level profile. There is a slight rake from the back to the front. Front's just a little bit lower. You may not look it in this view here, but that's the slope of the parking lot. So there's just a very slight rake as I was looking for, because I do haul things occasionally. I do towing with our camper, and I wanted a little bit of rake, but not much. But that's what I ended up getting. I want to give a good view down the side, so as I talk about tires and wheels and offset and everything, you can see what we have here. And I was looking for a fairly flush look, which is, I think, achieved pretty well. I don't care much for the tires that stick way out on the outside. I was wanting something fairly stock looking, but just a little bit more aggressive. But that's what we got with that look. I just want to give you a good all-around look, and we will start with some exterior modifications. Hopefully the wind's not too bad, or traffic's not too bad, or stupid birds aren't too bad. But I will link, or I will put in the description, the details on all of these mods that I'm going to talk about, so you can look them up, find out where to purchase them, find out part numbers, and everything, if it's anything that you're interested in. So we'll start maybe with the antenna that I got on Amazon. It's a 13-inch aftermarket antenna. Reception is very good. I've seen some antennas that are relatively short, and people complain about a lack of reception. A lot of people don't like the long whip antenna that Tundra's had through 2019, but this has very good reception, no complaints whatsoever, and I like the look of it. I like that look. Paint protection film, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but there is a film of paint protection really from here down that covers the entire front fascia and everything. My last Tundra, I did not have that, and I got a lot of chips from whatever. I don't even ride on gravel roads. I had quite a few chips in this area, and that's really working very well. I'm not sure if your dealer can put that on Aftermarket, but you probably have some shops in your area, some aftermarket shops who can do that type of thing. So you can look that up. Now you can see I have the light bar in the hood bulge. That's the Nsp Light Bar. Talk a little bit more about that later, but that's what that is. Looking underneath a little bit, the Tundra TRD Sport comes with front TRD sway bars, which I highly recommend. I would have added these aftermarket had I not gotten the TRD Sport version. Unless you do a lot of off-roading and rock crawling, you probably wouldn't want the sway bars if that's what you're doing mostly. But if you're like most people and you're on the road, do some light off-roading, do some towing with a camper or a boat or something like that, you will appreciate the stability that the sway bars give you. So my last Tundra did not have those, and I can tell a noticeable improvement in handling and when I'm towing. So you can tell I painted my front tow hooks small little modification. You'll see that throughout this video. I kind of like the small subtle red accents to the truck, but I painted those tail hooks to match the TRD red. Kind of walking around to the side a little bit more. Very small modification, but it counts. This little TRD decal came with some TRD parts that I got. I kind of thought that was a nice place to put that. Can't really see it unless you're looking for it, but it counts as a mod. I put on these, the TRD Sport came with chrome emblems, badging, and these are the Toyota overlays that fit right over top. I kind of like that blacked out look as opposed to the chrome. I got this model because I don't really like chrome, but their badging was chrome. So these are all overlays. They look really nice. I like how those turned out. And then you look in the back, it's not really a badge, but more of an emblem. The TRD Sport came with a silver sticker, I guess, on the back here. So I took the silver sticker off and I went with this matte black TRD 4x4 Sport sticker, bed sticker. So I like how it's subtle. You can hardly tell that it's there unless you get up close. And that's kind of the look that I was searching for. The running boards are the Go Rhino RB20 running boards. I chose those because I like the tighter profile of them. If you can look at them. My last Tundra had the tube steps. A lot of running boards kind of hang way down and look kind of ugly, I think, but I like how these look. They come in a powder coat option and a more of a durable bedliner option. I chose the bedliner. My last tube steps were just powder coated and they rusted away. So I think these are going to be a lot more durable and more skid resistance for traction. They've been blacked out. This is a silver plate and I painted that over, that Go Rhino plate. But those are the running boards. Give you another look at those from this direction here, a little closer. Just going to pause up here in the front a little bit to talk about undercoating. If you search for New Hampshire oil undercoating, you will find a wax and oil treatment that they use for new vehicles. So I got, again, did a lot of research. They are highly recommended by a lot of Tundra drivers and other people. So I had that done before the first winter here in the Midwest. And I think it's going to be worthwhile. I plan on keeping this Tundra for a good 15 years at least. A long time, so I want it to last a long time. So I went with the undercoating. Talk a little bit about the suspension lift that we got going on here. This is a Bilstein suspension lift that I got through boss4x4.com. It's really more of a kit. It's not all Bilstein solution, but the front coilovers are Bilstein 6112s, and in the back they're Bilstein 5160s, and in the back this whole kit comes with a shackle lift. So the shackle lift is on the highest setting, which gives you an 1.5 inch lift in the back, but in front here I have these set at the highest lift setting, plus the 4x4, the Boss 4x4 kit comes with a couple small shims. So there's 2 shims on this side and there's one on the passenger side, and that helps correct the slight lean, the Toyota Tundra lean that so many people know about, where the truck tends to lean a little bit more to the driver's side of the truck, and that corrects that. So there's a little bit different shimming, but that comes with an entire kit. And again, I have it the way that it's set up, as I just explained, full 3-inch you'll get in the front and an 1.5 inch in the back, and you'll get that look that I showed earlier. This kit comes with a number of other components to keep your alignments and your angles the way you want them to be. There is a front differential drop. It's not much, but it brings your angles back to where it needs to be to keep wear and tear down on your suspension and your linkage. And there's also a carrier bearing drop which adjusts the angle for your drive shaft going to the back to keep that in angle and inspect where that needs to be. And it's just an excellent kit with quality products from Bilstein and all the other little components that you would want to have a no problem, worry-free lifetime warranty setup. Just turned out really well. Looking at the tires and wheels, go back just a little bit more here. I've upgraded the brakes from the standard brakes to the Power Stop big brake kit, which is the calipers. You can see the red calipers there. You can hopefully see the drilled and slotted rotors, pads and everything. It comes as an entire kit. The Tundra has really good brakes to start with, but since I tow a camper, I just wanted the better braking capabilities that the kit comes in. Toyota makes a big brake kit for the Tundra, the Trd big brake kit. Way expensive. This was less expensive, high quality, highly rated, and has been working great for me for over a year. So that's a big brake kit. The wheels are Asante off-road wheels, and the size of these 20-inch by 9-inch, and the offset is +40. So that adjusts on how far in and out the wheels will be on your stance and on your profile. So look at that video, look at this video from earlier, and you'll see what a +40 will give you as far as offset. The tires are a Nitto Terra Grappler G2. The size is 275 65 R20. Plus a 34-inch tire. It's an AT style tire, so it rides really well on the road. It's quiet, you're not going to hear a tire noise, but yet it's aggressive enough that if you want to go off-road, you'll have some good off-road capability. What I like most about these tires and the setup for a 34-inch tire, which is what I was looking for sizing and spacing and just to fill out the wheel well with a lift of this kind. The most tires, once you start getting in that 34 and up range, are only E-rated tires. And E-rated tires for probably 90+% of Tundra owners is way overkill. Way overkill. They look nice, but unless you work in a mine or on a farm, it's more than you'll ever need. And the downside to an E-rated tire is that they're about 12 pounds heavier on each tire as compared to a non-E-rated tire. And I got all the specs in the description as I mentioned. So you take 12 pounds of weight off of every corner, and that's going to help your handling, it's going to help your mileage just quite a bit. So the ride, much better. The only thing I had with regards to rubbing with this entire setup was this front mud flap. I had to remove this mud flap. There are just 2 bolts. So I just covered the bolts with some Gorilla Tape. You can't really even tell, but it was rubbing on full turn on this bolt back here. So overall, if that's all you got to do, you don't have to chop the body mount, you don't have to do anything else, it's going to fit. Just remove the front little mud flap, which I don't know what it was really doing anyway, other than some minor aerodynamics maybe, but that's what you're going to get with that kind of suspension setup, that kind of tire and wheel setup. That's what you're going to have. The windows are tinted all the way around, even the front windshield. Front, it's all a ceramic window tint. So find yourself a good local shop. I chose the LLumar ceramic window tint. And again, I'll put in the description the percentages. This does not affect visibility out the front, in case you're wondering about that. I was concerned about that, almost didn't do that, but decided to for really, I mean, I like the look. Give you a better look. The front's not as tinted as the back, but that's kind of what I was looking for. You go all blacked out, you're gonna get pulled over. And I was wanting the heat reduction that the ceramic tin's going to give you, and it helps with the look too. So even did the back ones for the heat, but it's a very small tint percentage on the back ones because they're already pretty dark. So just kind of going around to the back here, give you a little look at the 5160s. Starting to rust a little bit. That's after a year. It's a little disappointing on those connections, but they're lifetime warranted, and I don't think I'm going to have much of a problem. I like the external reservoir for the fluid. Like I said, I tow a lot, and that really helps keep the fluid cool to have more capacity when you're bouncing up and down with a trailer in the back. It just works really well. Really well. Kind of go around more to the back here. Look underneath. Hopefully you can see the airlift suspension, the airbags from Airlift. Again, I'll leave the model number in the description. You can see the TRD sway bar that you can add to any Tundra. Comes with the TRD Sport. You can also zoom in here a little bit, and you can see if you do a research for Tundra rear diff breather mod, it'll show you this modification. Normally there's just a little breather there on your differential that it needs, but if ever you drive in water that's this high, the problem with not having it extended is that you can get water sucked into that breather port, and it's going to hydrolock your differential. So, got all the parts listed in the description. That tube runs up and behind the taillight, so it's like this high. So water's never going to be that high. If I'm driving through water that much, it's kind of all over. You can see on the back here, I did tint the tail lights. It's a very light tint. I didn't want to smoke them out completely because I want good visibility for the turn signals and brake lights, which I did upgrade the turn signal, brake lights, and the backup lights to LED because I know I was going to be smoking these out, and I wanted a brighter bulb in there, so it works really well. So work with your tint shop, maybe where you get your window tinting done. They'll do these also, most likely. And they'll recommend a tint that's not necessarily for windows, but is for your tail lights. And it's just a lighter tint, so it doesn't impede the bulbs. They did cut around these things that add so much aerodynamics to a Tundra. And I kind of like how they cut around that. It gives it a little red offset, and you're not going to have issues with your tint trying to go around those little flare thingies there. So I'll give you a good look at the Back Industries tonneau cover. This is the Revolver X4. I'll give you a real good look at that for profile. It's got a very low profile. I really, really like this. That little stripping is kind of folded a little bit, but that's just me. So it's got a very low profile. This is a hard tonneau cover. It's not one of those cheap vinyl ones that are gonna flap in the wind and everything when you go down the road. Yet it's a roll-up cover to maximize the entire bed length if I want to haul anything at all in the back of it. I'll give you a really good look at that. Also put LED bulbs in the third brake light and in the bed light up there to give of open the back up here. Hopefully I got it unlocked. Yep. So this is a spray-in bed liner, Toyota spray-in bed liner. My last Tundra had a drop-in bed liner, and I really hate those. They're not as durable, they're too slippery, and the bed liner is going to slide around on you, it's going to wear the paint off, it's going to rust out your bed. So I really like the spray-on bed liner setup. It does have the deck rail system in it. So this bed liner will come for Tundras that have the deck rail system. It just relocates those a little bit onto those brackets. All still works. There is a, I have a little DeWalt toolbox up here. I thought about one of the swing out toolboxes that you can get, but I have, I'll try to remember to list that in the description, the jack. There's a nice jack that will be able to lift a Tundra that's lifted, and that bottle jack, floor jack kind of combination, it's really highly reviewed and enjoyed by a lot of Tundra owners, but that was just a good place to put that because it couldn't fit underneath the seat and back, and it wouldn't fit in one of the swing out storage compartments, so just kind of ended up doing it that way. It's just an old rug that I had left over from something, just to put down in here to protect the bed a little bit, make things a little bit softer that I might want to put in there. So close this up here. There's a mini light bar over the license plate that I can turn on and off with a button, just to give you more backup lighting, which is really nice for camping and just anytime you really want to add some extra lights in the back. You can see where my air hose inlets are for the left side of the airlift airbag setup, on the right side. Just decided to put those on both sides of the license plate, which I need to replace that license plate. That's getting really janky looking. So that'll probably be my next mod that I do coming up here. Kind of come around to the back here. Last thing on the exterior before we go underneath the hood, blacked out exhaust tip. That comes with the TRD Sport, but you can order it. So that is the extent of the exterior. We will move underneath the hood. Okay, looking at the mods underneath the hood. This is going to be hard to find. Sharkbite Motorsports made this air compressor mounting bracket that fits right into the factory bolts in the back and down at the bottom on this bracket. Really nice. I'm going to put an air compressor on there someday. Hopefully someone else will pick that up. I think they went out of business. I'm not 100% sure, but hopefully someone will be able to make something like that because it's just a great spot for an air compressor. And yes, I want to confess, those red wires that you're seeing are coming from some interior lighting that I'll show later on. And yes, I know I should have put them in some split loom. So I did not do that, but they are well protected in the back. And I may come back in later on and put those in a split loom, but you should always do that. But I don't have them, they're not going to hurt anything. It's just coming through this firewall opening here. So just want to confess to that. Should have done that different. I did it different for things going forward. Radiator cap, TRD radiator cap, TRD oil filler cap. Adds a lot of extra horsepower. Not really. I'm gonna come around here. I have an S-Pod. So do your own research on what an S-Pod is and other similar power distribution solutions are. But this is something where if you have some accessories, you can see here's some of my wires coming from my interior lighting and other things like the light bar and various things. It's such a clean way to do accessory lighting and anything else, whether it's an air compressor or anything else you want to wire into your truck. This thing hooks to the battery. I'll show you that really quick here. Cover off. Set that down on the ground for a sec. This whole unit connects to your battery. These two leads come out to the battery. All of your accessory lighting just lays down on these really nice termination points. 8 different things you can wire up to it. It's all solid state. It's just a very clean way to do things. There's one cable that goes to the inside of the car. There's a switch in there to turn things on and off. And it's just a great solution. So highly recommend that if you're going to add any lighting or electrical power accessories to your vehicle. I do have one, speaking of electrical accessories, I have some lighting, some LED lighting that I put underneath the hood. So it goes underneath all the way across there. It comes up here, you can see some on the hood. Comes up, tucks underneath there. I've got a few up here. You can see them. Just kind of run across. So anytime I need to work out here, I just got to push a button inside and this whole area lights up and works really, really nice. Let me just check my list here real quick and make sure I've got everything covered underneath, which I believe I do. So that is the extent of the underhood modifications, and we'll look up some things on the interior. Moving on here to some interior modifications. I did add the grab assist handle here. I don't know why they don't come with that, but man, that's one of the most useful and easiest mods you can do. Get that from Toyota directly, obviously. I added heated seats. Just find a local auto accessory dealer or installer that's really good with electrical. People who install stereos, security systems, all kinds of things. You'll find that they may be able to install heated seats, but low, off, high, turned out really well. The TRD Sport version in 2019 only came with cloth seats and no heated seat option in the United States. Canada models got heated seats, but not United States for some reason. But we added those heated seats, so it works out really well in the wintertime. Looking at the seats, these are seat covers by Wet Acole. These can come in most any combination of colors and piping that you can get on the edges. You can make it all red or whatever color that you want. I kind of went with this look to be a little bit more subtle, but they can get red all the way up, and man, they're just made specifically for the Toyota Tundra, and they fit perfectly. They're made out of neoprene. You can do a little bit of research on that. I believe it's the same material that wetsuits are made out of, so it's great for spills and for stains and for cleanup. And a lot of people think that these are factory, that the truck came this way, but they are not. They are just seat covers, and they are great. I'll go into the back and let you take a look at the rear seats. A little bit there. Got this little cover that I keep on the seats to protect them. Just get this at Home Depot kind of thing. Protects your seats, and I can just roll this up if I have a passenger. But you can see kind of how they look in back. Similar kind of setup as what we had in the front. That's the rear seat covers. Give you a quick look at the Husky floor mats in back while we're back here. Talk about those in a minute. So moving more to the front here. Tundra sill plate protector. Got the black version of that. Here's the Husky Exact floor mats. Kind of dirty a little bit, but man, these fit really good. I mean, they come right to, look at that fitment. Flush down. Pliable, so it not super hard plastic. Fits perfectly. Highly recommend these. They come with a Husky little insert thing, and you can buy these little replacement ones. Any color, any wording basically I think that you want, you can put in there. It's chipped a little bit, but that was me. That was my mistake. The original adhesive I used to put this down did not hold that down, so I had to remove these, clean off all the old adhesive, and I chipped that up doing that. So that's me. It's not gonna, it wouldn't look like that until you mess it up like I did. I'm gonna flip my page over here to the back because we have covered all of those things here. And we will talk about, let's talk about the S-Pod panel. So, struggled with where to locate this thing. It just didn't fit anywhere in the Tundra. I didn't want it on a suction cup thing up here on the dash. I hated that look. I had that on my last Tundra for my navigation, and it always kept falling off. So this does have a little extension on the back. It's probably sticks out about an inch and is maybe this wide. So I found that in this location back behind there's nothing in the way. It's easy to route the wires up underneath and then out your firewall to the S-Pod unit underneath the hood. So this is where it's at. See if it can power up. Just poke any button and it will go through a startup sequence. And I'll show you real quick what I have on here. The light bar I showed you, that just gives power to the entire thing, and I'll show you the controls later on for the light bar itself. But by default, some of the lights were on all the time, and I didn't like that, so I ran all the power to my S-Pod so I can control when it has power and does anything. So it just gives power overall to the system. Red lights, I'll talk about that in a little bit. Here's the under hood lights that I showed you. And then the backup light, that little light bar in the back for the license plate. So it comes with a whole bunch of labels with the system. And I got 4 other spaces yet for other accessories like a air compressor or whatever else I might want to do. So red lights, closest I could come to footwell lights. So you can see underneath here, they didn't have a sticker that said footwell lights. But got those on both sides to lighten that whole area up, even in the back. You can see the footwell lights back here, lights up the whole area. I just mounted them to that under-seat storage unit that's back there. You can't really see it because it's glaring, but just find yourself a good space in there where you want to mount those. Run the wires that direction and out the firewall like I showed you earlier. Make sure you put them in split loom, sorry, like I did not do the first time, but that's the footwell light modification. So that's the S-Pod, or the S-Pod panel. So we'll move inside a little bit further for some modifications inside. Show you the Thinkware dash camera that's kind of tucked up behind there. I have the hardwire kit, so it's ran over to the fuse panel in the footwell over here by the driver's door, and it hides it really well. I mean, you can't really hardly see it up there. It's just a nice location. I wouldn't mount it where this material is here. Not 100% sure what that is, but it's just below that, and the wire runs over and goes up that direction. So that's the dash camera. Just kind of moving down to the center a little bit here. A little phone mount here. Thought that was a good location for a phone mount. Link that in the description. So coming down to this panel, this is the Nsp. For the Nsp Light Bar, it replaces this entire factory panel with this panel that Nsp provides. So there's 3 buttons. This is for the light bar that lights up everything. Turn it on and off like that. It's got a swipe feature, kind of that Knight Rider kind of look. Don't use that very much, but kind of fun. And then just a daytime running light where only a couple lights are on. Those are the ones that I told you about. They come on all the time when it's got power, and I didn't really care to have those on all the time. So I can control power to all of them by that button over on the S-Pod panel. So your USB auxiliary just relocates here, just snaps right in there. Your security snaps right in. Cigarette lighter is what you would have normally on a Tundra. Even the 2019 Tundras in this model did not come with any USB chargers. They just gave you those cigarette lighters, which is stupid. So this just has 2 USB fast charge ports. Works really great. I did have to widen that hole a little bit to fit this in there and brace it from the back. But there are a lot of videos on YouTube on doing that and wiring them up. I'll give you a link to where to find it on Amazon, I believe is where I got that. So I'm gonna open the door because it's hot in here. So just looking at the center console a little bit more, you can see these tough skin inserts that fit in these over this hard plastic area. Fits down in all the cup holders. Long one for this little storage area. This little place here, there's one there too. And one for the center area where I normally put my phone. Keeps the phone from clacking around on the hard plastic. This little panel here, I believe said just Toyota or Tundra from the factory, but you can get these little replacement panels. I kind of like the TRD in black and red. Kind of shows that. A couple other interior console modifications. These covers here, this is like silver from the factory, and this is a very shiny chrome that reflects into your eyeballs really badly. So you can replace all of those. And this little area here is a shiny chrome, and you can get this little cover to fit over it. It fits in there perfectly. It looks completely factory. You can get these little Allen wrench screw down, hold down in different colors and everything too. I kind of like the red for that, but you can get a lot of different options for that. I think AJT Design is where I got all these from. They also make these covers. These are a chrome trim ring around your air conditioning vents. So it's got automotive grade adhesive on the back of it. Fits on there perfectly for the HVAC controls. It's about wrapping everything up on the inside. I am in the process of swapping out the interior lights to LED. These are LED, so you can see how nice and crisp and white they look. The front ones I have not done yet, the map lights. You can see they're that dingy yellow color, so that kind of shows you what you get when you upgrade those to LED. Just a couple things on the center console area. There's 2 different center console accessories that you can get. The first one is this tray. I like it for organization. I'm a little bit OCD for organization. I keep my billfold and different things in here. Change and all kinds of things. But this will just lift out of there. We'll do that if I can manage holding the phone, which I did. And there's just another organization. Normally, of course, this is just a wide open thing that you just throw crap into. But now I can organize all sorts of little things in here that I like to keep. Inside, I'm not going to take this out, but this is a foot brake, a manual foot brake that goes underneath your brake pedal. It's got a key on it, and it adjusts up and down, and you fit it underneath the brake pedal, and you adjust it all the way up, and it prevents the brake from being pushed down, which obviously you need to push the brake down to shift it out of park. So if ever I'm parked in a sketchy area and I want a little bit extra protection, I will put that underneath the brake pedal and lock that up so the truck can't go anywhere. And as you see, it's pretty pretty heavy duty. No one's going to cut through that anytime soon. And I just kind of got it wrapped in a towel here because it clanks around a little bit. But anyway, that is the center console modifications. And that is going to wrap up this video on Toyota Tundra modifications. I hope that was helpful to you, give you some ideas on what you can do with your Tundra. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.